Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pod's Moving and Storage Studio, it's the Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money. I'm your host, George Camel, joined this hour by the one, the only, Dr. John Deloney. The phone lines are open at 888-825-5225 if you want to jump in, if you've got a question about a relationship, maybe a mental health crisis, maybe some debt you've got. We want to help you take the right next step.
And you've got your Kirkland's coffee out today, ready to rock and roll.
John, you know I'm a Costco fan. Hashtag not sponsored.
I know, but
For the context, folks, John was very judgmental because I had a cold brew coffee with the Kirkland logo on it.
It wasn't that. I just
What
don't
was
normally...
your comment that you made?
I don't normally eat things. I don't consume things that also make pants. But...
They do it all.
Kirkland's incredible.
They're the largest white label in the world.
They're the best of the best of the best.
Love them. Well, let's get to the phones, fans, whether you're a Costco fan or not. And we'll see if Jordan is over in Pensacola, Florida, kicking off this hour. What's up, Jordan?
Hey, how are you guys?
Doing well. How can we help?
Alrighty, so my initial question is, should I stick it out at my high-paying job in order to pay off my mortgage quicker, or get a 9-to-5 so I can finally be home with my family? And my initial situation is, I'm 29 now, but from the ages of 18 to 24, I pretty much did everything the wrong way with credit cards, repossessions. It was bad. Since then, I've been following you guys, and now I'm debt-free besides my mortgage with good credit and about $80,000 in liquid assets. I'm married with a baby on the way, and I travel for work, so I'm 2 weeks away from home 84 hours a week, then get to spend a week off back home. Right now, I'm making about $175,000 salary. But with the baby on the way, my wife and I would like me to quit my current employer and go get a regular 9-to-5 so I can have much of my time back with my family after this type of work for the last 10 years. My debt to income right now is only 25%, which comes out to about $3,500 a month in bills, and the rest I can save and invest. If I keep this job, I can have my $300,000 mortgage paid off in about 3 years, and then finally begin investing in real estate, which is kind of my ultimate goal. I'm just looking for some guidance on how far of a setback it could be by quitting.
Okay. So if you got a 9-to-5, how much of an income decrease would that be, you think? Could you get a job making 100, 120?
I'd really hope so, but on the low end, I'm thinking more realistically, it's going to be around 80, 85.
Okay. So let's just pretend like your income gets cut down. How much more margin would you have once your bills are paid to throw at the house?
Cut down that far, I'd say my debt to income would probably be closer to 50%.
So, but we're talking about the house getting paid off, 3, 4, 5 years later than you wanted to.
Possibly. Yeah. If I keep my job now, I could pay off my house easily within 3 years.
How much do you owe on your house?
So right now, I owe $340.
Are you going to be able to afford this pay cut? It sounds like you got a whole lot of house thinking that this job was going to be sustainable for a long time.
Well, yeah. I should, like I said, my bills only come out to about $3,000 to $3,500 a month because I don't have any debt.
Yeah, but you're about to have a human. You're about to have a child.
Yeah, and that's the biggest reason why I'd like to come home and be with my new kid,
The way you phrase the question, my wife and I have already decided that we want me to quit my job. It sounds like you've answered the question. It sounds like you also have a lot of shame and regret for how you handled money when you were younger, and you're still living out of that. Dude.
Yeah, exactly, because I'm scared.
You've broke your neck to get to this point.
Yes, and so I don't want to lose it all or dip into any kind of savings from all the work I've put in.
Then don't.
So you're saying stick with it?
No.
It's not an either or. You're 29. If you pay off the house in 10 years instead of 3, you're still going to be okay.
You're ahead of everybody.
And you also get to be there and watch your kid grow and not have your wife resent you.
Or if you want to suck it up for 36 months and just say, I'm going to travel, but when I'm home, I'm going to be 100% home, and we're going to knock this thing out, you can do that too. That's probably not a trade I would make, but every family's different. George said it best, man. Anytime you back yourself into a corner and say, I've got to do this or I have to do that, man, that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Is the plan for your wife to stay home with the baby?
Yep, so she's been home and planning to stay home, yeah. No, she's not working.
Okay, and this is your first child?
It is.
Okay. When's the baby due?
June 23rd.
Woo! We're coming up on it. It's exciting.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
So I might consider a hybrid of the two right now. Is there a possibility to say, hey, I'm going to keep working and we're going to look up in 6 months and we're going to figure this out. And at the same time, I'm applying for other jobs. I'm having conversations. That way I don't have to take the first train out of town for $72,000. But also I can just start piling up cash and throwing it at this debt and throwing it at this debt and throwing it at this debt.
Yeah, that's kind of our initial conversation was, well, let me finish out this year. And then that gives me plenty of time to do what I need to do to get another job and stuff.
But finish out this year might look like applying like crazy and making phone calls and having cups of coffee with folks. Maybe consider selling your house. Maybe consider moving to another city where it may be a little bit less expensive to live. All these things are on the table now, man. You just started a new phase of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Does your current employer have any other opportunities for you that don't involve as much travel?
No, we're 2 weeks on, 1 week off, and everybody's schedule is like that.
Okay, but I assume you're really good at sales.
Yeah, I do okay.
You're making $175 and you're still working, so that tells me you do a good job. So I think you're short selling yourself on how much you could make in a regular sales job. What do you sell?
I don't sell anything. I actually work on I'm a supervisor for some drill rigs owned by a big company.
Okay. So is there anything else in the field in Pensacola where you could do that locally? Or would you need to go to a whole other career?
I'll probably need a whole other career. Anything around there, it's not much for drilling. It's all over here in Nevada for the mining industry.
Okay.
And I actually was thinking that, which is why I want everyone we have a challenge in our country right now, and I'm talking to you, but I'm also talking to George here, with people who want to stay in a certain location and they want to stay in a certain job, and yet they expect to make X amount of dollars. And one of those three variables, or two of those three variables, often doesn't work. And so instead of looking at the choice I'm making to want to live here and the choice I'm making to work in this industry, I just get mad at my employer for not making enough, and I cause havoc, and I want them to raise this and increase this, when really the variable I can pull is it might be time to move or to go try something for a couple years, right? It's going to look different than I wanted it to, but that's the reality that that I'm in right now.
Well, Jordan, I want to send you some resources. One of those is Ken Coleman's Get Clear assessment, as well as his book From Paycheck to Purpose. I want to help you make that career move that's right for your family so you can be there for them and not decrease your income by 50%. That's the goal. So hang on the line. Austin's going to pick up. We'll get you those resources. I'm wishing you the best with this new baby and this career move. A lot going on, man. Hang on tight. This is The Ramsey Show.
Y'all, there's a lot you can't control when it comes to healthcare, but there is something you should check out that can help. Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM is not insurance. It is budget-friendly, biblically based health cost sharing. That means a community of members helping share the burden of each other's healthcare costs. They help people just like you in all 50 states. So see if CHM could be right for your family. Learn more today at chministries.org/budget.
What's up, America? This is The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel, joined by Dr. John Deloney this hour. The number to call if you want to talk to us is 888-825-5225, or you can just keep listening. That's fine, too. It's your show. So, John, I come across things on the internet, and they make me laugh, which I think is one of the only things the internet is good for.
Correct.
And I love especially when they make me laugh by calling out stupid crap that's happening out there in the culture.
Excellent.
And I know you love stupid stuff.
With
You're
all
a
of
huge
my
fan.
heart. Huge
So I
fan.
thought I'd show it to you for the first time. You've never seen this.
Correct.
I feel like that magician who's like, you are not a plant in the audience. So I wanted to see what you think about this. And we've reacted to this guy before. He makes hilarious videos on the internet, and I'm here for it.
All right, I'm in.
The next time you're going to waste $10 on a Netflix subscription, don't. Use that $10 to buy an Airbnb property that you can rent to people. Now, once you've collected some money, you're going to use that money as advertising money to grow your Amazon FBA business that you started last night to $300 billion in daily profit. Now, once you've done that, you're going to hire your kids as W-2 employees. Why? So you can write them off as a business expense. This is how I managed to retire my parents before I was born. And if you're interested in more generational wealth content, make sure you click the link in my bio.
Oh, man, that gets me every time.
That brings me joy in my heart.
It starts absurd, and then it somehow gets more absurd. It's how I retired my parents before I was born.
I saw one guy the other day, and he was on Instagram, and he just said, he was kind of making fun of guys like me, but he just said, I wake up every morning, and I sprint as fast as I can towards a sunset, and then I do jumping jacks in the surf, and then, he just went through this whole, and then I eat a head of raw lettuce. And, he just, we can go too far.
Well, you do that, John. It's called cold plunge.
I can go too far. But that guy needs an Emmy.
So let me just recap.
That guy needs an Emmy.
He's making fun of all the get-rich-quick bros out there. So let's see where he went. He went from, hey, stop wasting money on your Netflix subscription. Great start. That's something we all agree on. Then he went, use that to buy an Airbnb property that you then rent out. Use that money to then advertise for your Amazon FBA, which is a way that people can become sellers and sell their stuff on Amazon and wholesale. It's a whole thing. Another get-rich-quick trend. He says you'll make $300 billion in daily profit, and then you can use that to hire your kids as W-2 employees, which is another get-rich-quick trend, John, if you've seen it out there. It's like, it's a write-off. It's genius. You hire your kids. I'm like, your kid is 7, okay? Legally, they probably can't. You probably don't even have a real business. So they're trying to get people to start businesses they don't even have to hire their kids as a tax write-off.
If people would spend as much time just like hanging out with their kids and being connected with their wife or their husband as they do trying to come up with schemes. Remember back in high school, this was probably never you, the amount of time it took to like sneak notes on a tiny, piece of paper before an exam or in middle school, like you're trying to. If I had just spent that much time studying instead of, trying to cut corners, golly, man.
But shortcuts always sound so much more fun, John. It's so boring to be like, hey, just, invest 15% in your 401k and eventually you'll be a millionaire.
And learn how to talk to your kids.
And everyone's like, boo, give us the right crypto coin. I'm like, oh, gosh, okay. It reminds me of Kramer and Seinfeld when he runs this scheme where they get all the cans and recycle them over in Michigan to make an extra 5 cents a can. And it goes haywire. It feels like Kramer was onto something. He would be a get-rich-quick bro for sure today. Oh, my goodness. That's fun.
Good one. That one did not give me hemorrhoids, George. That's number one.
Because it was making fun of the stupid stuff.
Correct.
Instead of actually promoting it.
Well done.
We love to see it. All right, let's go to the phones. Jason is up next in Denver, Colorado. Jason, welcome to the show.
Thank you for taking my call.
Sure. What's going on?
Well, I committed a financial sin and I financed a vehicle. And my wife wants me to sell it. I'm having a little trouble getting it sold anywhere close to what I paid for. I was wondering if you had any advice on that and what to do.
Do you think you should sell it?
Yes, I believe I probably shouldn't have bought it.
Okay, so how much was this car?
65.
What do you owe on the loan?
I just bought it, so it's probably 64 right now.
Okay, you didn't put anything down?
No, I totally financed it.
Okay. And have you actually looked at private party value for this vehicle?
Yes, it's quite a bit less. So I'm seeing $55,000 for this vehicle.
How much money do you have in the bank?
We don't have a lot, probably about $10,000 in the bank. I do have quite a substantial amount in my TSP or 401k.
Okay, we don't want to touch retirement. So you've got enough that you could cover the difference on the loan. Let's say you sell it for 55, you owe 64, you'll take $9,000 from savings, and it's going to hurt, but that would cover your stupid tax. You'd be out of this thing. Now, you still need another car, correct?
Yes.
So we need to save up a little bit more and get a beater in order to do that. Right. And if you wanted to, this is the only time we would tell you it's okay to take out a loan is to go to your credit union, get a small loan to cover the difference, and then you can use that to make this all happen and clean this up.
Hey,
okay.
Let me ask you this. Because the way you said you committed a financial sin, like, here's the thing. We all screw up with money. That happens. But had you and your wife agreed that y'all were not going to borrow money and y'all were through borrowing on cars and you went out and did this anyway?
Yes. We had been kind of following the baby steps and things like that. But I had a vehicle that had about 280,000 miles on it, and I went to get it worked on and stuff, and they told me how much I was going to, have to spend to get it fixed. So I kind of got stupid and just went and bought another vehicle.
So you said, I'm not going to pay for a $3,000 repair. Ha-ha, joke's on you. I'm going to buy a $65,000 car. That'll show them.
That was...
That's how
okay, so here's what I want you to do. So you obviously did something dumb with math, right? You know that.
Yes.
I'm way, way more concerned that with what we call here financial infidelity. You cheated on your wife.
Yes.
Y'all came to a core agreement on values and who we are going to be, and you had a toddler moment where you took your ball and I'm going home, and you bought a 60. You put your family in jeopardy. So if you haven't already, I want you to go home and turn all the TV off and all the Netflix off, and I want you to take a knee in front of your wife and hold both of her hands and look her in the eye and say, I am sorry. I violated. Have you done that?
I've done that already.
Good. What did she say?
She, I guess she forgave me, but she's still pretty upset.
Yeah, both of those things can be true, right? She can forgive you and be really pissed.
Yeah, forgiveness can be instant. The healing process and rebuilding trust, that'll take a while.
Yeah.
So cool. Go sell this car, man, and make it right.
Will do.
What's your household income?
I make about $177,000 a year.
Okay.
My wife probably makes about $50,000.
Awesome. So you guys have an amazing income.
Yeah.
So next month you'll have. Do you have any other debt?
We own two houses. When we got married, I had a house and she had a house. We were talking about selling my house and just moving, and just having this one house.
I think that's a great plan. Could you start to knock down the mortgage once you have your emergency fund in place and you're investing? Could you start to chip away at the mortgage if you sold that place?
Oh, I think if we sold one of the houses, we could probably pretty close to paying out the other house.
Which house does she want to live in?
Her house.
Sell yours. Tell her tonight. We're going to sell my house.
Okay.
That'll show her that you're serious about this.
I'm serious.
Your level of sacrifice.
I'm going to sell my truck or the car I just bought. I'm going to sell the house, and we're going to unify this thing once and for all.
And we're never touching debt again.
Ever.
I'm getting rid of this mortgage. I'm done with debt, and I'm done not working together as a team because that's what we signed up for. Thanks for the call, Jason. This is The Ramsey Show.
If you're like most people, your home is your most valuable asset. And when you want to make improvements, it can feel like everything costs too much or takes too long. But something as simple as custom window coverings from Blinds.com can completely change your space and add value to your home. We've recommended Blinds.com for over a decade, so you know you can trust them. From blinds, drapes, and shutters to motorized shades, they make it easy and affordable to upgrade your entire home, and their team is ready to help with everything from design consultation to measuring and installation. Plus, there are never any misleading quotes or hidden fees. Everything's backed by their 100% satisfaction guarantee, and shipping is always free. See why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. Go to Blinds.com now and save 40% off selected products. Visit Blinds.com today for more info.
Around this time last year, my book, Own Your Past, Change Your Future, hit the shelves. And since it was published, I've gotten tons of calls from people asking for private counseling sessions, private coaching sessions. And obviously, I can't meet one-on-one with every single person. It's just not possible. But that's exactly why I wrote the book. Think of Own Your Past, Change Your Future like us sitting across the table having a conversation, trying to figure out what the next right step is. It's practical advice and encouragement on topics like relationship, overcoming past hurts, and healing from traumas that you've experienced. And as you read through each section, I'll show you how to learn from what happened in your past so you can start focusing on what it means to live well. And for the first time ever, we're including this book in our $10 sale. Dave's just giving it away, and he's having all of our commissions too. But my bestsellers, Own Your Past, Change Your Future, Redefining Anxiety, plus all the questions for humans, conversation cards, everything. It's just $10 each. Get your copy of Own Your Past, Change Your Future. And actually, I'm just playing. I'm so glad it's at $10. We've been asking them for years for the year to make it $10. I want to get this book into the hands of as many people as possible. And same with the questions for humans cards. Everything's just $10 at RamseySolutions.com.
I might get a copy for myself since you won't hang out with me.
You know a guy. I'll hook you up. I'll sell it to you for $5.
Ooh,
the super sale.
That's the Deloney special.
Right.
If he sits right next to you. All right, let's get to the phones. Drew is up next in Michigan. Drew, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
So I just wanted to kind of get, I guess, John, your opinion. Obviously, George, chime in if you please. But so I've been following the Ramsey steps for a while. Right now, my wife is currently not working. We had recently moved to the Michigan area about 3 months ago. When we got our home and our mortgage, it was a little bit above the 25%. It's about at the 35% mark, so higher than we want it to be, obviously. But with my wife eventually working, obviously we can get that down to 25, no problem. However, in good news, my wife is pregnant, and so obviously that's great. But I guess my question is, I'm contemplating getting a second job to kind of get that mortgage under the 35% that we're at right now and get it down closer to that 25%. How do I kind of go about that conversation without putting guilt on my wife or, making her feel like she's not pulling her weight, or so to speak?
Yeah, I appreciate your heart in this, man. I think the challenge here is what you're asking probably is not sustainable over the long term. And so what do you do for a living?
I do like management.
Management. So what kind of second job would you go get?
I'm open to anything. Anything like in warehouse or retail or anything like that. I don't have a specific area where closed off.
What's your target goal for income? Is it $500 extra a month, $1,000?
Yeah, you got it. About 500 to 1,000, and that would easily put me. If I did 1,000, it would definitely put me back under 25. It's not 20%, but
I would much rather you begin the process of finding a new job that's going to pay you what you need. And
Okay.
here's what I'm afraid of, and it's a very common thing that happens to people. Is this your first kid?
Yeah, this is our first.
Okay, very, very common experience is this. Wife gets pregnant. Husband and wife are all excited and nervous and all those things. And there's a plan in place, and the plan gets thrown out the window because everything's different than what you think it's going to be. But you stick to the plan, and you stick to the plan, and I don't want to over-gender this, but it's common with men that you slowly start feeling edged out of the situation because you're not carrying this baby, you're not feeling the extent of this stuff. And so what you do is what you want to help, you want to be supportive, you want to be a part of this thing, and you go to the one place where you know you're good, and that's work. And it starts as a tiny little splinter. And if you're not careful, you're going to wake up in 5 years and you're going to have a second and a third kid, and you're going to be 2 inches apart from your wife and 2,000 miles away from her. And so I would much rather, and now let me say this, sometimes when somebody gets pregnant, man, go work 3 jobs and stack up cash. That's not what I'm saying here. If you had said, hey, how do I tell my wife for the next 6 months I need to get another job? I would tell you just to go sit down and tell your wife, we have a math problem and I want to be a good husband, and so I'm going to dive in and go get another job. That's not what you asked. What you said is, I've got to fill up a ratio gap, and so this is an indefinite move to work 2 jobs. And man, that's just going to pull you and pull you and pull you apart from your wife. And so I'd much rather you look at math, look at the hard reality that you're facing, and then slowly start looking for a second job. You're in no rush. Nothing's on fire. And bring your wife into that conversation and say, I want to be present at home. I want to be a good partner here. I want to be a co-manager of this house with you. And we have a math problem. And we had plan X, and that's not going to work. And so we're going to move on to plan Y. And you can't really choose how she's going to feel. That's her decision. And if she chooses guilt, then y'all can have that conversation later. But really, I want you to start leaning in towards a long-term decision here and not just a instant to instant to instant to instant, because that's a good way for you and your wife to end up completely separated in this deal. So I just threw a lot at you. Tell me what you're thinking.
I guess my first question would be, with the work I do currently, a promotion is definitely, getting promoted and increasing my income is definitely an option at where I work at. The question obviously is that no one knows is when that happens. And then I guess that's kind of like where my headspace goes into is, I guess in your guys' ideal thoughts and everything, how long would you, I don't want to say wait, but how long would you kind of, I guess I'm having trouble just kind of thinking about, I guess, to close that gap and everything. I understand what you're saying of like, once the baby's born, we'll go back to work, and then it doesn't happen. And I'm hearing that. But I guess cutting down and cutting back a little bit on other things, and doing either just small little side gigs and things, that's where my head goes. That way I'm not taking a ton of extra time away.
Are you guys actually in a financial pinch right now, Drew? Do you guys have debt? Do you have an emergency fund? Where are you at?
Just the mortgage. We have the emergency fund, but obviously I don't view that as, I don't view this as an emergency because it's not. It's just we need to kind of change the current trajectory, I guess.
How much do you make?
After tax, about $60 a year.
What's your mortgage?
About 15. It's almost $1,600.
How much is what's your loan? What loan did you take out?
I just took a 15-year.
How much do you owe on your house?
I think it's like 220. I can't remember the balance right now, but it's 220 something, I want to say.
Okay.
The ratio, like John mentioned, is not the big issue here. So if you're trying to get this gap of 10%, I'm going to do whatever it takes. Again, it's not going to be sustainable. So your best bet is, let's make what we have work. Let's get on a real tight budget. Let's save up until baby and mom are home and healthy. And while we're doing that, let's kill it at work. Let's see if we can get that promotion. And if you want to work a side job right now just to stack up cash to feel better until the baby's here, that's fine. But I wouldn't use that as a long-term plan. And if you guys need to go, hey, this house is too much for us, it doesn't sound like it is. And so we're not fundamentalist, we're not too legalistic on this 25%. We just know it helps you accomplish the other baby steps faster.
Let me tell you this. If I'm you right now, and I have any kind of relationship with my direct supervisor at work, I would go sit down and say, congratulations, or I'm excited to tell you we're having a baby, and I would love to know how to get on track for the next promotion. And let them tell you that information. You're scared of variables that you don't know yet. Go get the information that you need so you can make good decisions.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel, joined by Dr. John Deloney this hour. Hey, if you're a new listener to the show and you want a deeper dive on all of the Ramsey baby steps, some of the lingo we mention around here, what kind of tools and resources we can offer, go to RamseySolutions.com and click on Get Started. It's a magical button that will help you figure out the right next step for your financial journey based on where you're at today. That's RamseySolutions.com and click on the Get Started button.
It's a magical button.
Magic. It's fun to click buttons. That's a tried and true American pastime.
Button pushing?
Yeah, especially on the internet.
My daughter's incredible at pushing.
I guess buttons. you don't click them anymore. It's just a tap.
It's a tap.
Let's be honest.
It's cool.
It's fine. All right, we got a call from Poland. Is that right, John? Am I saying? I mean, that's correct. Am I reading?
You're reading correct.
This might be my first call from Poland. Taylor, welcome to America. How you doing?
Hi, guys. Thank you for taking my call.
Good to have you.
What's up?
Are you from Poland, or are you living there?
No, I'm military.
Oh, cool. Thanks for your service.
Thank you for your support.
What's going on?
Yeah, so I'm currently deployed over here. I'm 21, and I'm able to save a lot over this time period that I'm deployed. Sorry, I'm nervous. But I'm estimating that I'm going to be getting about 15 to 20,000 saved by the end of this deployment. And I don't know if I should. My dad said I should call y'all, and he thinks I should put it in the money market. But I'm thinking that maybe I should invest it and capitalize on the compounding interest that I can get off of it.
Cool. Well, your dad's a good man. I appreciate him sending you our way.
Yeah, we usually don't say this, but it sounds like your dad's correct.
Okay.
So let's talk through this. What's your financial situation? Do you have any debt? Do you have any savings currently?
I don't have debt. I have $4,500 in my emergency fund, and I'm investing 15% towards the Roth IRA.
Awesome.
Where did you learn this?
21 years old. Is this from Dad?
My parents have been following y'all, and they taught us.
Golly.
We were kind of following up.
You know this is true. None of the people you're on deployment with are following this.
Yeah.
Spread the word.
Their money is falling out of their back pocket like water.
They're going, sweet $20,000 bonus. What car am I going to put a down payment on? That's how they're thinking.
No.
Well, you're smarter than that. So to your question, where should you put this money, this 15 to 20,000 that you're going to have saved? When are you deployed until? Are you coming back to the States soon?
I've got about 5 months.
Okay. So the reason your dad was saying money market, which is essentially a savings account in cash, versus putting it into the stock market, is that 5 months from now, you get back to the States and all of a sudden you got to put a deposit on an apartment, you need to get a car, whatever the situation may be. There's too much volatility that could happen in that short time horizon. And so you're better off keeping it liquid and keeping it safe. And right now with some of these high yield savings accounts and money market accounts, you can get 4% or more just by storing it over there. And that keeps it safe from volatility. Because last year, the market was down 18%, which scares me. If you put 10 grand in, you're now down 2 grand 5 months later. And so that's why I want you to keep it safe right now. At your age, you've got a lot of life ahead of you, a lot of milestones, a lot of things you're going to have to purchase. So I'd rather you have it liquid.
Okay.
When you get back, are you gonna remain enlisted, or are you gonna go do something else?
I'm gonna remain enlisted.
So you're gonna be able to pile up cash for the foreseeable future, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. I would look for a 2 or 3 or 4 year time horizon and say, when I get out, if you choose to get out, I'm going to buy a house here. I want to pay cash for a car. And just so it doesn't sound like George and I are robots, I've got my eyes on something I want to buy, and I'm just putting cash into a money market account. That's how I'm doing it. And it's going to be a couple years away, and so I'm just putting it in there to hang on to it. So we live this advice too. So I absolutely second what George was saying. I would not just dump the stuff into the market. Who knows what's going to happen in the short term?
And you're already investing 15% into the Roth. And so you've got that part dialed in. So your next goal would be, let me have a giant pile of cash so that if I want to buy a house down the line, I've got $30, $40, $50, $60, $70,000 saved, which is a good down payment these days for a house. So that would be my next goal for you, man, while you're deployed.
Okay. And I have one more question too, if you don't mind. So say I save like the 50, 60, 70,000. When should I start investing in a different asset? Just so I can, like, instead of waiting till I'm like 69 until I get all this money, I can start growing some wealth before then.
When you say investing in a different asset, what do you mean? Investment property or
mutual funds?
Okay.
I hear Dave talking about that.
So you're wanting non-retirement investing funds. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The time to invest beyond your 15% into retirement would be once you have a paid-for house. Otherwise, every dime should be going towards trying to get rid of that mortgage. And so once you have a paid-for house, there's no more 15% parameter. You can invest 25%, 30%. So anything beyond your retirement accounts, and you want to go there first because those are tax advantaged, then you can start doing some non-retirement in just a taxable brokerage account.
Okay, perfect. I can do that.
Yeah, thanks so much for the call, and thank you for your sacrifice, man.
Hey, George, let me ask you this on behalf of Taylor. Let me ask a twist of a question here. So let's say he decided to stay enlisted for 15 or 20 years, and he decides to live on base for free or take his stipend and just live somewhat Spartan. Would he just continue to put money into a money market account, or at some point would he start to build wealth outside because his housing is taken care of by the nature of his employment?
Well, at some point, it won't be. And so that's the problem is people go, well, my life is great now. Why save? And then all of a sudden they go, oh, I want to retire and I don't have any money to buy a house.
So he might earmark $300,000 and just begin piling up cash over the next 15, 20 years until he's got $300,000 in a money market account.
Yeah, if he could pay cash for a home down the line.
And then just go pay cash for it, yeah.
Yeah, and if you know you're not going to touch the money for 5+ years, you can go invest that in a taxable brokerage account if you wanted to. But for most people, there's a lot of assumptions made about what life's going to be like, and then it doesn't end up that way.
Right.
And they go, oh my gosh, it's all tied up, it's locked up, the market's down. We get calls like that all the time. People say, oh, I have debt now, but I can't get rid of these investments, John, because the market's down 50%. We got one on crypto. The guy's crypto was down 47%, and he had a pile of debt, and we went, sell the crypto at a loss.
Yeah.
And the crypto bros were not happy with us, John. But again, that's a stupid tax you pay when you got a pile of debt over here and you're not safe and you have a pile of money elsewhere that you can use to pay it off. So I just want to have the most options, and I think having it liquid at 21 years old is the best option.
It's almost an option tax, right? Like I'm gonna take a little less on this imaginary return for the fact that I can spend my money on what I need.
And you've heard about this FIRE movement, I'm sure. This is financially independent, retire early. Is what it stands for.
Yeah, okay.
And so there's a crowd who's like, hey, I want to retire in my 30s, which we know is not a great plan. And now that people are doing it, 5 years later, they're either bored or broke. And so we're like, go find work you love to do. But the thinking there is great because what they do is they say, I'm going to make as much money as I can and live on as little as I can. And that gap right there, they just funnel into investing. And so they're able to have $1 million, $2 million in their 30s. That they can use to play around with. So for people that do want to retire early, they can't access their retirement funds till 59 and a half. There is something called a bridge account, which essentially is your taxable brokerage account that you can use to float you by from age 50 to 59 and a half.
Do you roll that out of a traditional retirement account? How do you create a bridge account?
That's just the taxable brokerage outside of retirement. So you just go and you create an account that's non-retirement, and you just start investing in there.
Okay.
And then over time, over 10 years, you might have $1 million in there, or 20 years. And then you go, cool, I can retire at 50, live off the $1 million until I can get to my retirement account. Hence the term bridge. So that's a cool idea. I think we're going to see a lot of Gen Zers and millennials who saw their parents unable to retire when they want to go, that's what I want to do. I want to have more options. And it's a noble goal. I still think I'll be working, but I want to have the option to not later on.
Or I want to have the option to work on what I want to work on. And if that is more service oriented or less obsessed with a dollar amount and more obsessed with a mission or something that I find value in.
But knowing us, John, we'll be here at 78 years old. Dave will be, 99 by that point.
He'll be
still
an AI
on air.
voice.
Well,
still taking your calls.
That's frightening. Just a hologram Dave in here with AI. And it would still be a better show than we could put on. So I think we can all agree on that. Hey, that puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books. My thanks to all the guys and gals in the booth. Skylar, Austin, Joe, James, Zach, Andrew, keeping the show afloat. And you, America, thank you for listening. We will be back before you know it. Do you love a good Dave rant? Want to see the latest Ramsey Show videos going viral? Check out your favorite moments from The Ramsey Show on YouTube. Go watch and subscribe to The Ramsey Show channel on YouTube. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studio, it's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create amazing relationships. I'm Ramsey personality George Campbell, joined by best-selling author and my best friend, Dr. John Deloney, host of the Dr. John Deloney Show. And we're here for you, America, to take your calls about money, mental health, relationships, boundaries, lack thereof, that student loan payment that you're hoping gets forgiven, that card debt that you regret taking out in the first place. We want to help you take the right next step. The number is 888-825-5225. Odette is kicking us off this hour from Massachusetts. Is that right, Odette?
Hi, no, I'm from Maryland.
Oh, okay. We got the abbreviation wrong. It's okay. We're working on it. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing good. Oh my God, I'm so happy to be. I don't even know. I'm shaking right now. I'm in so much debt, and I really don't know what to do. In January, I went on Reddit, on personal finance subreddit.
That was your first mistake, was going on Reddit.
And I asked the question if I should get a cash out refinance on my house so I can help pay these debts, because they're really, it's really bugging me that I have all these debt. And one of the responders, actually a lot of them actually responded saying, hey, you can't pay debt by taking out money or something, and that I need to go look up Dave Ramsey and watch his videos.
Wow.
I love Reddit.
I think you owe Reddit an apology, George.
I do owe Reddit an apology. Listen, there's the subreddit for personal finance can get haywire over there. But I'm glad they steered you in the right direction for once. So they told you, hey, talk to these guys over at Ramsey and see what they think?
Yeah, so I went to the library and I got your books. I got like your audio books, and I'll drive to work. I'll be listening. So I started trying to do the baby steps. So I already had, because I have a $300,000 house, I have a $60,000 school loans, and then I have $13,000 left on my car, and I have $20,000 in credit card debt. And I've just been, I don't even know, I've just been so confused on what to do. I tried to start paying a lot of the money, because I think I was on baby step 2 or 3. After you save up your emergency fund, then you start attacking that debt, strong, and pay the lowest one first, right? But then I had the money to pay the lowest one first, but I didn't, because I kept looking at my savings. I'm like, I don't know. What if I don't have work? How am I going to pay my mortgage?
Oh, you got nervous. You had money in the bank, but you went, I don't feel good having only $1,000 in the bank.
Yes, and it doesn't come from nothing, because I was in the Army, and then when I got out, I kind of got I was really, really depressed, and I tried to unalive myself, but I also had a drinking problem. So I ended up not working for a whole year doing rehab and also being in an institution for psychiatry. And because I had a savings that year, I ended up paying all my bills with, my savings. But now I've managed to build up money again, and I don't know what to do. I'm so confused how to go about this debt. And now that I'm sober, I have a clear mind again. I'm taking my antidepressant. Now these bills are just holding me back. I'm so sad, it's dragging me behind, and I really just don't want to be in this situation again.
So Odette, can I just stop for a second? George is going to walk you through the math of all of this. Can I tell you how proud of you I am? You are incredible.
Thank you.
And George and I have to talk to people. We have the honor of sitting with people who are struggling and going through hell. You've been to hell and you're back. And that's a hard journey.
Yeah.
You're an overcomer. And if you can overcome what you went through, you can overcome a pile of debt.
So how long have you been sober?
Since for 2.5 years now.
Oh, it's incredible. What's your official diagnostic? What are you taking meds for?
Major depressive disorder and anxiety.
Are you still?
And I also had a drinking problem.
Are you still in treatment for the MDD?
No, I did after getting out of the psych ward. I did outpatient therapy, and then I went into drug and alcohol counseling for 6 months.
Okay.
And then now, then I got a job again, so I started catching up on bills and stuff. But I also admit that I do have a spending problem. I'm not even going to lie about that. When I do have money, I spend. I don't know where my money goes.
Do you still have credit cards open?
Yes. I don't use them. Since I read your book, I just kept them at home. I don't take them out.
If you don't use them, then cut them up.
Okay.
And that's going to help you curb this, because what happens is you only have your own money and then you spend differently. And if you run out of money, you go, oh my gosh, I can't spend anymore. So that's step one, is to not go into any more debt, and cutting up the card is going to help with that.
Okay.
So how much money do you have in savings?
Currently, I have $20,000 in savings.
Love it. And what's your income?
I make $120,000 a year.
Amazing. Okay. So just looking at the math, you have $87,000 of consumer debt, right?
Yes.
You have 20 in the bank. So let's say you went down to 1 in savings, and then you have your checking account with some buffer there. That would knock out a huge portion of this debt.
Okay.
Right? Then you're down to less than 70, making 120. How quickly could you pay off $70,000 if you were making $120,000 and you were doing the debt snowball? Under 2 years.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
So
Can you find $35,000 a year?
Right. Yeah.
No. If you do a cash out refinance, I take back all those nice things I said about how smart and brave and strong you are.
I'm sorry. Okay.
The reason they told you to talk to us is to talk you off the ledge of doing a cash out refinance. Because what it does, it just robs future Odette and keeps Odette in debt longer with her mortgage. You're going backwards.
With your house on the block.
And you think you did something. And you know this out of all people, that it takes behavior change to transform.
Yeah.
And so cash out refinance is zero behavior change. It's a shortcut that leads to nowhere.
Okay.
But when you bust it and you use that future income and you're going to sell everything, you're going to use that savings, you're going to feel that momentum. And that's actually you expending energy to get out of debt. And that's what changes you for the better.
So I looked at my mortgage is like $1,700, right? So I looked at all my bills like you guys said I should do, like just to see where, and I realized that like all my bills probably account for like $2,800 to $3,000 a month, but I don't know where the other money is going.
Well, that's what happens when you start paying attention by doing a budget. And I'm going to help you out with that by giving you 1 year of Every Dollar Plus, and that has a paycheck planning tool in there. So what you're going to do is put in your income, put in all your bills, put in the due dates, and it will actually show you when you're going to run out of money. And so what happens is when you make this budget with Every Dollar, it's the boss. You're the boss of it while you make it, and then it becomes the boss of you for the rest of the month, telling you where and when you can spend money. So hang on the line. I'm going to gift you that, as well as 1 year of Financial Peace University. Watch all 9 lessons, and it will make you allergic to debt for the rest of your life. And I want you to call back and do your debt-free scream, or come see us in person, because it will be a powerful one that will impact impact so many people. You're an inspiration, Odette. Stay the course. This is The Ramsey Show.
Buying a home is one of the biggest decisions of your life. You need a partner like Churchill Mortgage. Churchill is one of the highest rated lenders in the country, and they're Ramsey trusted because they do what's right for you. Churchill works with you to build a mortgage the Ramsey way, one that doesn't bust your budget, sets you up for financial success, and helps you get out of debt faster. Go to churchillmortgage.com today and get started.
If you've never experienced Smart Conference before, let me tell you, the energy in the room is mayhem. It's absolutely electric. It's so fun. This is Ramsey's biggest event of the year. The event is packed with inspiration, motivation, information, laughter, jamming. We're talking how to get in control of your money, improving your mental health, strengthening your relationships, and building a successful career. So whether you're on baby step 2 or baby step 7, you're going to leave on fire and you're going to be smarter. So make your plans now. Our next Smart Conference is happening in Chicago this fall. Join all of us, Dave Ramsey, Rachel Cruz, George Campbell, Jade Warshaw, Ken Coleman, and me at Smart Conference Weekend on September 15th and 16th. Right now, our early bird general admission ticket price is $80. It's $79. And we have limited VIP and platinum tickets, so don't wait to get yours. Those sell out usually real quick. The VIP ticket includes a meet and greet with Jade, Rachel, George, Ken, and me. And I love getting to meet you all and hear your stories. It's one of my favorite things in the world. Go to RamseySolutions.com/events today to get your tickets. I'll see you there.
I'm pumped for this.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
All right, let's get to the phones. The number to call is 888-825-5225 if you want to jump in and ask your question. Martin is up next in Austin, Texas. Martin, welcome to the show.
How you doing, guys? I'm about to be finished with baby step 2, and I'm just kind of at a point where I'm sort of lost because I don't own a home, and my wife and I's income isn't that great.
Okay. Tell us more. So you're finishing baby step 2. You're almost out of debt completely?
Yep.
Okay. How much more do you have?
About $5,000 in loans total.
Awesome.
And I'm almost done with my truck too, so it'll be done by the end of the year.
How much have you paid off so far, Martin?
The truck loan was originally $27,000, and it's down to, I'm looking at it right now, 12.
Nice.
Good for you, man.
And what's wrong with your income? How low are we talking?
My wife and I only make about $5,600 combined a month.
Okay. And your next goal after baby step 2 is to get that 3 to 6 months of expenses. Do you have that target number in mind and how long that will take?
Yeah, I believe that'll take us, we'll probably be around there in slightly less than a year.
Okay. So I don't feel like we're lost. We still have a lot of goal ahead of us. We got to get out of debt. We have to get an emergency fund. We got to begin investing 15% into retirement. So where do you feel like you're lost in the plan?
Well, I currently rent, and I know that a lot of people that call into the show are all homeowners, and I don't know what to do about renting, or should I save up for a house? Should I continue renting? Should I? That's where I'm mostly lost.
I would rent with my head held high. I've rented at multiple places when I had just really great jobs because it was the smartest thing for me and my family in that season.
Yeah.
And right now, the last thing you and your wife need as y'all are working to change everything about your life and you're changing your family tree is to drop the stress of home ownership, home buying, all that. It's a mess right now. So don't.
Yeah, that's true.
You can feel like you are getting behind by renting. You are not. You are getting so far ahead by paying your debts off. You know what you sound to me? You sound tired. Like y'all got gung-ho and y'all went racing off into the woods and your hands are on your knees and you're sucking air and you realize, oh man, we're about halfway there.
Yeah, I'm just kind of worn out. We both are.
Yeah. Stay the course, man.
Martin, I heard you say everyone else, they're getting homes. Have you met everyone? They're broke.
Yeah, that's true.
And so here's the thing. You've got what's called FOMO right now, fear of missing out. Everyone else is getting a home. There's not going to be any homes for Martin when it comes time for him to buy a house. What I want you to have is something called JOMO. That's the joy of missing out. That's the joy of saying, dude, I'm running my own race. I don't care what everyone else is doing on Instagram. And it might take me 3 years longer to get a house instead of tomorrow. But I'm going to do it the right way to where Martin's not calling the show again a year from now going, so we got a house before we should have, and now we can't breathe. That's a whole nother version of not breathing. And so I want you to hold your head up high and go, all right, we got a 6-month goal to get rid of this debt. We have another 6 months to get the emergency fund. Then we're going to start saving up that down payment. And that means 2-3 years from now, we're going to have a healthy down payment and step into this thing the right way.
Can I tell you something cheesy that me and my wife did, Martin?
Sure.
One among many things. So I want you to wrap your head. I was associate dean of a university. My wife was a fancy pants tenure track research professor. And you know what we did together with my 2-year-old son at the time? We got a construction paper and some construction paper and some scissors, and we made one of those chains that you make when you're a kid and you're going on a ski trip, and you take off a link every day until the ski trip or until Christmas. And we made one for every month, and we wrote the dollar amount inside of the chain, and I hung it in our bedroom on the wall. It matched nothing, and it was embarrassing, and I was able to see it every day. This is why we're doing this. And when every month rolled around and we got paid once a month, we would send another huge chunk of money to pay off our debt, and we would pull it off together. We let my son pull it off, and we did it as a family, but we got to see it, and it just, for whatever reason, having 36 chain links for you or having 72 and taking one off every 2 weeks, you're going to get to see that progress right in front of you. And for whatever reason, there's something about that visual cue that just reminds us we're in it, and we can keep going because there's the finish line.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess what bothers me is we're currently paying $1,400 a month for rent, and it'd just be nice to live somewhere where I'm not making a payment on something.
Well, you're always going to... Here's the thing. There's a fallacy out there that renting is throwing money away, right? Or you're not putting into the asset. And the truth is renting is the most you'll ever pay. A mortgage is the least you'll ever pay. Your property taxes can go up. Your homeowner's insurance can go up. You're paying a huge chunk of interest to the lender just for fun to own that house. And that's not touching PMI, which most people have when they get into a house when they're broke because they can't put down 20%. So you're paying an extra few $100 to the lender every month. And then there's other things. There's HOA fees. You got to pay for all the maintenance and repairs. And so home ownership is the most expensive thing you'll ever get into. And so don't think for a second that just trading that for a $1,400 mortgage payment would solve all your problems.
And you got to get this out of your head, my brother, this idea that sure would be nice. Because sure would be nice. You can have yourself a nice jet, and then somebody pull up next to you in their jet, and you think, well, sure would be nice if I had. Sure would be nice is a rocket ship to being broke. Get out of that game. Unplug from that game, brother. Sure would be nice to have no payments. That's not where you are right now. So spending any sort of mental energy on sure would be nice is a distraction from where you currently are.
And man, you said you had a low income, and I'm doing the math. I'm going $5,600 a month take home pay. That's $67,000 a year.
Yeah,
that means they're bringing home. They're making gross income of 80 plus, and so I don't buy this thing of like, oh, we have a low income, so we just can't. That's Eeyore syndrome. All right, now I know Austin, Texas, it's expensive out there. It's kind of like Nashville's sister city, and it's pricey. But there's people who are making $40,000 going, oh my gosh, if I could make 67. My mind would be blown, the things I could do. And as soon as you get rid of these payments, you're going to free up that wealth building tool called your income, and you're going to realize, oh, we made plenty. It was just going out to the wrong things instead of helping us build wealth and accomplish our goals.
Just stay on the path, man. Slow and steady, slow and steady.
It's so hard, John. And I feel for Martin because I remember feeling that way. When you see everyone around you going way further than you are, and you're like, but I'm moving so much slower. Do I have to do this plan? And the problem is shortcuts make you think you've gone further when really it's just holding you back. So that's such a tough thing to grapple with and go, I'm going to have that JOMO instead of the FOMO. I'm going to do it the slow way. I'm going to be the tortoise instead of the hare. I'm going to be the crock pot instead of the microwave. But man, there is such peace in doing it the slow way. And the hares, they're going to get caught eventually, whether now or later on.
And nobody cooks good food in the microwave.
That's living like no one else, so later you can live and give like no one else. This is The Ramsey Show.
We've been doing business at Ramsey for more than 30 years. By now, we're a well-oiled machine, but it wasn't always that way. Yes, we've always had a vision, always had determination, and a drive to help people. But what we didn't have was one central place to access all our numbers so that we could get further ahead or quickly see when we needed to pivot. We were always jumping back and forth between different systems and spreadsheets. So when NetSuite by Oracle helped us wrangle our revenue, inventory, expenses, and more into one place, it was a game changer. And NetSuite's #1 cloud financial system can help your business gain the same visibility, because businesses thrive on timely data. And NetSuite's real-time analytics can help your business have immediate access to your numbers daily, so you always know where you stand and you can move quickly. So go to netsuite.com/Ramsey today and set up a free product tour. That's netsuite.com/Ramsey.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel, joined by my good friend Dr. John Deloney this hour, and we're taking your calls at 888-825-5225. Henry joins us in Chesapeake, Virginia, coming up next. Henry, what's going on?
Hey, Ramsey team. Thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely. What's going on?
So I recently completed your Foundations in Personal Finance homeschool curriculum, and I have a question about investments.
Okay, hit me. How old are you?
So I'm 16.
Don't hit George. It's a whole thing.
I'll go down easy.
Yeah.
All right. So specifically, my question is Pokemon cards. My parents say that Pokemon cards don't have any value in them and that they won't make me any money. But it seems like every Pokemon card set from previous years has just been going up and up in price. For example, a box of Pokemon cards that were released in 2021 originally sold for $120. Now they sell for about $400. What are your thoughts, and are Pokemon cards good or not good investments?
Great question. Very well worded, Henry, and I'm proud of you for going through the curriculum. Did you learn anything in the curriculum about investing? Do you remember anything from that section?
I learned that I should never invest in anything that I do not know about.
That's good, and you seem to know a lot about Pokemon cards, that's for sure.
Will you teach me something about Pokemon that I don't know? And this will be even what Pokemon is.
That was a challenge because John knows everything.
I don't know what Pokemon is, so tell me.
Well, Pokemon was originally released in the mid-90s in Japan, and its original name is Pocket Monsters. And it first used to be a game on the Game Boy called Pokemon Red and Blue.
Dude, Henry, you're
like
a Pokemon scholar. This is amazing.
And eventually it kind of evolved into Pokemon cards, which came out in Japan about 1997 and in America about 1999.
This is what I grew up playing, John. Was Game Boy, Pokemon, got the cards from my friends, and you got the packs for, $4 or $5 from the
so
comic
weird.
book
I grew
store.
up dating and playing instruments.
Did you, though?
I don't know.
Sure. Okay.
All right, so George is going to teach us.
So no, the thing, Henry, is there's a lot of collectibles out there, and people can make money. And you probably have seen YouTubers like Logan Paul who are like, I paid $5 million for this super rare Charizard, right? That's the stuff that we see, that we click on, that we view. The reality is most people, it's like going to Vegas. It's like the slot machine. You're hoping that you get the pack with the right card, and all of a sudden you went, I spent $300 and my cards aren't worth nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And so the chances of you getting that card that you can then flip and make a whole bunch of money isn't worth the time. Now, if you wanted to do this beyond your normal investments with just your fun money and you're super into it, you could do it. And I bet you would call back and you'd be like, hey, I have $7 million because I invested in Pokemon cards. And we'd all be like, what? This kid's crazy. And so I'm not saying that it can't be done. I don't want to shoot down your dreams. But the truth is, these collectibles, these commodities, they're just based on hype. And so Pokemania could end next year, all of a sudden, because we all move on to something else. Versus something like the stock market, which history has shown us will appreciate over time. Yes, there'll be some volatility, but over 50 years, it's going to be a good investment. We just don't know that about Pokemon cards.
Now, here's my challenge to your parents. I think they're right. I think George is right. They're not great investment vehicles. And also, sometimes having a collectible that you're interested in is fun, and you clearly have a lot of it. You know the history of Pokemon cards. So is trading cards, getting new cards, going through the value of them, is that fun for you? Is that exciting?
Well, it's exciting to open Pokemon card packs and see that these are pretty rare from the sets that they were released, and going, wow, this is like one of the rarest cards in the set.
Yeah, so I don't want you to lose that joy for something that you're interested in that you think is fun. I just don't want you to go into debt for it, and I want you to not save up for college for it. But man, I want you to enjoy your life too.
All right.
And it's about the spirit of it, right, George?
Yeah, there's an entrepreneurial spirit that you have, Henry, where you go, I love something, but I also want to see, like, could I make money from this? And that's a great thing to feel inside. You just want to do it the right way. Otherwise, you're going to be chasing the next kind of get-rich-quick thing. I'm going to buy this and hope, because it's the same spirit that a lot of the crypto bros have, right? You know about cryptocurrency, and they're going, oh, if we just get this one coin, it's going to be worth 10x a year from now. This is going to be the one. And so you're kind of hoping for the same thing with Pokemon cards, that if I just buy the right pack, it's going to have the right collectible that one day will be worth something. So I would do it because you love it and do it with your extra fun money, but I would not do it as part of your investing strategy.
And George, I'm going to ask you about this, or tell you about this. This is 10, 12 years ago. I had just bought a house, and then somebody else bought a house down the street, and I was checking every house purchase to see what they were buying theirs for, and I was kind of doing my own comps in my house because I was a little bit, and I was trying to keep up with every sale, and what are you listing it for? And I was talking to a finance buddy, and he said something that was important for me. He said, because I was telling him, hey, I think I'm going to sell now because it's gone up this much in 3 months. I'm going to do this. And he said, hey, and here's the line he gave me. He said, give your wife a home. He said, you're going to make money on your house over time, probably. Maybe not, but probably. But man, if you ROI every single transaction in your life, you're going to make yourself nuts. And it was a call back to have a place where you can drop your shoulders, like a home, right? Follow good money principles, obviously, but we can get obsessed about things. And so I used to buy a guitar, and then I would always like, how much does it cost? How much does it cost? And have I made any money? Now I buy a guitar because I like it, and I want to play it, and I have a scenario in my head where I'm going to play it live. And if one day it's worth money, great. But I had the money now. I saved up the money. I bought it. I like it. I play it. And if it loses money, I still got the enjoyment out of it that I wanted, right? And so I think with things like Pokemon cards, with some baseball cards, whatever thing you kind of into, have a spirit of joy about it. And if it goes down in value, you still have the joy. But man, I think there's a few things. I think we over ROI everything in our culture, and we over hack everything. And there's some things like a home. There's some things like strumming a guitar in your basement when your kids are asleep. There's something about, I don't know, writing in your favorite journal that are things that just bring you peace and they bring you joy and they bring you beauty to your life. Man, those are worth the expenditure in and of themselves. And if they end up being worth money down the road, great, right?
Yeah, you make a great point. There's a lot of things in our lives that we subconsciously make idols in our lives, where we spend so much time in it, around it, that it takes over our brain. And so when crypto came about, my major issue with crypto was not that you're going to lose a bunch of money. That's a possibility. My issue with crypto was that it was 24/7, and you can just see on your app it volatility all day long. And there was new coins, there was community groups all about it, and you could just have it consume your life. And that's why I joke that crypto is just, Mary Kay for young men. Because there was this obsessive nature, just like there is with multi-level marketing, where people were it took over their life. It became a personality trait. And that's where I go, let's draw a line here. It's great to enjoy something. It's not great to be consumed by it. That turns into an addiction.
I love that. That's good.
There's some wisdom for you, John. But I don't want to hurt Henry's dreams, because this kid's amazing. He's going to go big places, and there's nothing wrong with using these Pokemon cards and having fun with it.
Well, and I also think that's an important conversation to have with parents. So my son, he cleans out the horse stalls of the people who live next to us on the ranch next to us. And he earns his own money. And he also mows our yard, and I pay him for helping participate in mowing our place. And he earns his own money, and then he'll want to spend it on something. And my first impulse is often, that's stupid, or why would you want to spend it? And then I think, no, he's 13. This is when he's going to learn those lessons of value and what's important and what's not important. So we're taking care of the giving, we're taking care of the saving. It's your money, right? And I think for parents, it's good to teach them lessons, but also let them learn, I spent $25 on what?
Yes.
Right? And man, that wasn't worth it.
Yeah. And learning that way is much healthier than being forced to never get to play a video game your whole life, or never getting to buy some Pokemon cards. So I'm rooting for you, Henry. Keep us posted on how it goes, my friend. This is The Ramsey Show. This is The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel, host of the George Camel YouTube channel. You can go check that out. We got 3 episodes a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, launching over there. And my friend, Dr. John Deloney, has got a show that he records next door called The Dr. John Deloney Show. And John, you guys are releasing episodes a few times a week as well, right?
Yep, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
We're on the same schedule.
We compare notes to see who's winning.
Our shows are very different. Your show is more long-form calls, talking about mental health, relationships, boundaries, all the things, physical health. Mine is just fun, humor, personal finance, deep dives.
Yeah, but yours got some great lessons and hacks in it. Yours teaches you just how stacked the system is against you.
In a
like
fun
how
way.
the entire machine is set up for you to fail.
My job is to go, hey, you're in the Matrix. And they go, no, I'm not. And I go, no, yeah, you are. Here's why. And they go, oh, no, I'm in the Matrix. Help me get out.
And then they call my show.
And John helps them get out of that.
There you go.
Oh, I love it. Okay, John, it's time for a question of the day, which is sponsored by our friends at Neighborly, your hub for home services. After fires or floods, their Rainbow Restoration Pros offer homeowners trusted full-service restoration expertise like mold remediation, carpet cleaning, odor removal, and more. Visit neighborly.com today to find Rainbow Restoration Services in your area.
Today's question comes from Jen in Ohio. Jen writes, my husband and I have followed the baby steps for about 6 years, paid off $110,000 in debt, and we're on baby step 6 until a few days ago. Murphy hit our house hard in the form of a cancer diagnosis that we're paying mostly out of pocket for the treatment. The wind literally blew our backyard fence down, and then we're paying a stupid tax because we didn't know our new state had city taxes and we never filed them. Luckily, we have an emergency fund and can cash flow all of this, but this is the third time something like this has happened. We feel like we're finally getting ahead, and then we get knocked back and have to start over. How do people stay encouraged when we feel like we're falling in the same pit every few years and have to keep pivoting back to gazelle intensity? It's very frustrating and very discouraging.
Well, there's a lot going on here. Obviously, the cancer diagnosis sticks out as something that no one could ever prepare themselves for, regardless of a financial emergency fund. It's great that you guys have those things, but that is a heavy burden on top of the ankle biters. Oh, we got to replace the fence. We got to pay the taxes. On top of feeling this emotional weight of, oh my gosh, we have a health scare.
Well, sometimes a fence is not an ankle biter, right? It could be $20,000.
Yeah.
It's almost the axis of evil here. You've got a medical challenge, a weather challenge, and the government. It's the trifecta of sadness.
Yikes.
Oh,
so
Jen, I wish you were
sorry,
here.
Jen.
I'd give you a hug. So here's my first thought as I'm reading this. And George, you can tell me if I'm delusional. But as I read
I've been wanting to say that for a while.
As I read Jen's story here, I kept thinking, thank God. Thank God they continue to get back up. And thank God they continue to save money, put money away, pay off their debt. Thank God they continue to follow these steps because they keep getting shoved and hit and pushed, and they've never had to go back into debt. Any one of these things, a backyard fence, I remember when my fence fell down and I couldn't afford to put it back up. Cancer diagnosis, taxes coming out of the woodwork. I've got people that I know who have been paralyzed for years by back taxes. And this hurt. It was a punch in the nose, but it didn't knock them down because they had continued to put in the work. And so while I can't imagine being in this because I know how it would feel. As an outsider, I'm looking at this going, y'all are incredible. You've done the work for just this moment, right?
Yeah. And I love what you said. I wrote down the word perspective. So I went, if you just have some perspective and go, can you imagine if we didn't have this emergency fund? Can you just imagine if we didn't have good health insurance?
If we still had $110,000, but we had a Suburban in the driveway.
And so, yes, this stinks, but what you're looking at here is you turned a crisis into an inconvenience by having the emergency fund, which is exactly what it's there for. So, yes, it hurts because you got to rebuild the emergency fund and you're tired and you're dealing with this health diagnosis, but also we can just get back up. We're not in debt. We're not moving backwards. It's just a pause. And there's no way life is going to continue to throw thing after thing. So it's easy to think in your mind, John, when things like this happen, life is always going to be this way. There's always going to be another thing holding us back. Why even try? Let's just go into debt and just live our life. But you got to get back up.
Yeah, it reminds me of the other day when we were in the dressing room, we had some photo shoot stuff, and I just happened to see, George, across your lower back, your tattoo of one of your favorite bands, Chumbawamba. And
that was a private moment, John.
It was, but as you're always walking around bestowing upon us great Chumbawamba lyrics, you get knocked down and you get back up again.
You're never going to bring me down.
Never. Yeah.
Wow.
Jen,
who knew?
hey,
who knew the inspiration would come from John Deloney and Chumbawamba today?
It's your tattoo,
for the record,
man.
I don't actually have that tattoo. It was a temporary tat.
It was absolutely not. It was actually inside of a large Aztec sun. The whole thing is a little bit uncomfortable, but it's cool. Hey, but Jen, listen, our hearts are with you. This, like, I don't want to make light of this. Like, y'all are in it. Y'all are in it. Y'all are in it. Cancer, house stuff, government stuff. I just want you to back up 2 or 3 steps and be so proud of yourselves. This is why we do this show. Because life is coming at you. The world's coming at you. Punches are thrown, kicks are thrown, and most people have to fold up because they haven't done the hard work. So grieve this, be sad about it, be really pissed off about it. All that's good, all that's right, all that's normal. And then get back up on the path and go again. Because really, what's the other option, right? What's the other option? But to get back up and get going again.
Good word. Thanks for the question, Jen. All right, let's take a quick one here from Katie in Pittsburgh. Katie, what's going on?
Hi, George. Hi, John. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. How can we help?
So I have a question around the intensity I should be bringing into baby step 6. and would just like your advice on how to balance investing outside of retirement and paying off my home early.
Okay.
So some quick background on my situation. I bought my house in 2020 before following the baby steps on a 30-year fixed rate. I just paid off over $120,000 in student loan debt earlier this year.
Way to go.
Awesome.
That's amazing.
Thank you. I have my emergency fund fully funded, and I started back up my investment in my Roth K. So I'm planning now to adjust my mortgage payment so the amount would allow me to pay off in 12 years. So now it would be a 15-year mortgage. I still have a little bit left after my expenses, and I'm just wondering, should I be paying more towards my mortgage? Should I be setting that aside to invest in mutual funds eventually? What would you do in my situation?
I'll tell you what I would do, and I'll tell you what I did. I would keep investing 15% into that Roth 401k, and any money beyond that, I would start throwing at the house. I would not put extra money on top of that into mutual funds outside of retirement until you pay it off. Because your next focus is getting a paid-for house so that you have freed up your greatest wealth-building tool, your income, and then you're at baby step 7, where you build wealth and you give outrageously, and if you want to invest 25%, 30%, 40%, you can do that. But you seem young. How old are you?
I'm 32.
Okay, you got plenty of time.
What do you do for a living?
I work for an insurance company.
So you had a good year last year?
I did, yes.
What's your household income?
What do you make?
I make $130,000 a year.
Amazing.
Is that salary or commission?
Salary.
What opportunities do you have to increase that over the next couple of years? Have you maxed yourself out, or are you just getting started?
I actually, I think I should be expecting additional salary increase later this year, and then I'm already bonus eligible for next year.
I knew it. You know how I knew it? Because you paid off $120,000 in a year, and you're a gangster like that. All of that new money, pay off your house. I want you to take that 12-year plan and pull it down to 6. Pull it down to 7. Get rid of that stupid thing, and then you're going to be free. It's going to be awesome.
That's a great plan. I love focusing on one thing at a time, and when that mortgage is in your sights, nothing can stop you. And Katie's going to get there way faster than she even thinks. That puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books. My thanks to my co-host, Dr. John Maloney, all the folks in the booth, and you, America. Thanks for listening. We'll be back real soon.
Hey, it's Dr. John Deloney. If you like what you heard in this episode and want to know more about getting started on the Ramsey baby steps, go to RamseySolutions.com and click on the Get Started button. We'll help you figure out the best next step for you based on your specific situation. That's RamseySolutions.com and click Get Started.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studio, it's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create amazing relationships. I'm George Campbell, joined this hour by my friend Dr. John Deloney, best-selling author, and just an all-around good guy. Great husband, great dad, and I'm being paid to say all of this. And we're taking your calls at 888-825-5225. If you want to jump in, we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. This is your show, which means if it's bad, it's your fault. Isn't that right, John?
It could be your fault.
That's true.
But hey, listen, if you are like most people and you're scared of how our country deals with money, and you're watching the debt ceiling fights and you're listening to the stats about credit cards about to cross the $1 trillion threshold and mortgage debt, all that, and you just wish, hey, I wish people were listening to this show. I wish people could get some of the empowerment and not be told this is the only way to do this and you're a slave to the system. Here's a no cost, it doesn't cost you anything, way of getting this information into the hands of your neighbors, of the people who vote the wrong way according to you, people that you disagree with, people that you love. The easiest, best way to do that is simply subscribe to the show. Like it, thumbs up it, whatever you got to do on your device, however you're consuming this, whether you're watching us on YouTube, you're listening to us on podcasts, you're listening to us on the radio, give us a thumbs up, leave a 5-star review. subscribe to the show, it kicks it up in the algorithms, and it simply puts the show in front of more people. We don't need any more pats on the back. George makes us do that for him all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We're always telling George how great he is. But you can really help out your neighbor, and you can help out people who are struggling by just doing something as simple as hitting subscribe. So please take a second and do that for all of us. And man, George, I'm hoping that as we're sitting in this crisis and this mess and crisis after crisis after crisis, at some point, a huge swath of this country will say, enough. I
think we're getting there. People are getting sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I hope we can intersect their life with some truth and some hope and go, it doesn't have to be this way.
It doesn't have to be like this.
And that's a great place to get to. So we're grateful to be here, grateful you're listening. Scott kicks us off this hour in Austin, Texas. Scott, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate y'all taking my call.
Absolutely. How can we help?
So the biggest issue I'm having is my wife and I are having a hard time aligning on budget categories and following through on it. We've been through Dave Ramsey a few times, and I'm kind of more of the strict one on it, and she's not 100% with it. So we're having a hard time, I guess, in that area.
Is it a certain category? What's the argument here?
Yeah, hold on. You put in two very different challenges. One is we're having trouble aligning together, uniting around who we are. The other one is we're just not doing it. And you kindly and graciously said, I am, she's not. So what's the bigger challenge here? The trying to come up with the right categories. You want a little more in savings. She wants some in food. You want some in clothes. Or is the harder thing, y'all agree on this budget, you high-five each other, y'all weep and pray and sing old Whitesnake covers together, y'all bond and unite, and then she goes off and just spends whatever she's going to spend.
Yeah, so we will get together and have our meeting and agree on it. But I feel like when we do have it, she hasn't really she'll say she agrees on it, but then we go back and just blow over it each time, myself included in some areas.
Why do y'all disrespect each other in that way?
That is a good question. So, well, I guess the backstory, we've been married for about 20 years, and for the first half or 3/4 of our marriage, I was just blowing it financially. She was handling everything, so I was continuously just kind of spending over what we had, and she was trying to manage it. Now the tables are kind of turned, and I'm doing the finances, and I feel like she's told me a few times, like, hey, this is what you did for 15 years, so I think a little bit of it, she just doesn't kind of trust me with my track record, which I totally...
So is that kind of a boy who cried wolf? Like, oh, look at Scott over here telling me he's going to stick to the budget. Look at this. Is it kind of that?
100%.
And have you sat down with her and told her what you just told us? Like, hey, I screwed up. I'm sorry. Instead of kind of a place of tit for tat, I'm going to get at you because you got at me. What's the spirit of these conversations been?
Yeah, so it's good we have talked about that. I think she still, she said, yeah, I get it, but I think she's still kind of not, I won't say over it, but yeah, I can tell it's still irritating her.
Are there things about your former life, Scott, that still show up in the modern times? They just have a different gloss on them? Meaning, maybe you drank a lot when y'all first got married, and she did not like how you were a little bit out of control. She didn't know if you were going to show up on time, and now you never drink, but you're kind of having an affair with your job, and you work 90 hours a week. The pathology is the same, but the action's a little bit different. And a lot of times when we try to solve vision issues with just a plan and not an identity change, our behaviors might be a little bit different, but that machine that's running underneath everything is still going. And so if you're just a guy with another scheme and another plan and another this and another that, man, she's going to feel that and smell that a mile away. So she'll go along with it, man. She's just going to spend what she's going to spend. Because you're still the same guy. You just wrapped it up in a different suit. What George was saying is profound, and I don't want to miss that. There's a difference between saying, hey, I screwed up, so I got this new plan for us. There's that avenue, and it almost never works. you doing the money versus her doing the money. Y'all doing the same thing. You just flip the other side of the barbell. There's something different about saying, hey, let's go out for a weekend. What we're doing is not working, and I started this. And so as the guy that blew you off for 15 years, I need you to hear me say from my core, I'm sorry. I let you down, I let me down, and I let future us down. And we're starting to fall right back into that same thing, and I don't want to do it. Will you plan a new life for us together? And what are the things that I bring to the table that make you cringe, that make you not believe me? And then give her an opportunity to ask you that same question. And now we're uniting around who we are and where we want to go. And then a plan laid on top of that, man, it's going to work every time. But if a football coach calls a play and a couple of the people on the field only care about themselves and their stats and their numbers, and some other guys just care about knocking the guy down in front of them, and then a couple of guys care about running the play, everything's going to fall apart. So you got to have that core identity. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense, because just more backstory. I definitely have a background of addiction in different areas. I've been, cleaning those up, quote, over the years. But
so you've got a wife who's scared. Let's start with identity, and let's start with I'm sorry, and let's start with forgiveness, and let's get on the same page of where we're headed together, and then we're going to put the Ramsey plan on top of that, and there will be no stopping you.
Compromise, my friend, grace, and accountability. Those are the keys to doing a budget together. This is The Ramsey Show. It's a show about you, and it's a show about living a life of debt freedom, going against the grain, living counterculturally, bucking the system, taking control of your mental health, your relationships, your career, your money, and realizing that it's not up to someone else. It's not up to the government. It's not up to your brother-in-law or your uncle or your parents or your trauma, that you can overcome and you can move forward. And so if you want to be a part of that, you can call into the show at 888-825-5225. I'm George Campbell, joined by Dr. John Deloney this hour. And Dr. John, I thought it would be fun to play a little clip of a celebrity. Time to time, we like to play some celebrity clips that have to do with money. And usually, it's not always a good kind of clip. But this one tickled me in a wonderful way, and I thought you might enjoy it too. Would you indulge me?
If you want to be tickled in a wonderful way, I'm happy to indulge.
Let's roll that beautiful bean footage. Uh-oh, we lost the...
That's too much. I'm like, you want it?
We're going to try that one more time.
Mother go pick a house. She's still one of them old school, baby, that's too much. I'm like, you want it? And it feels good to just tell them, yeah, give me that. Without no checking credit or none of that. The lady was she was like, I need to check your credit. I was like, I beg your pardon? Excuse me?
Straight cash, homie.
Yeah.
Straight cash.
My mom was like, baby, don't do that. I was like, hold on, mama. She disrespected me. Hey, lady. I want this house and I want the 10-day closing right now. Do it.
Oh, okay. So for context, that is Shaquille O'Neal talking with some guys, explaining the story of when he went to buy his mom a house, and the lady's like, hey, we need to run your credit score if you want to buy this house. And he was disrespected because Shaq is worth $400 million. And so the credit score is not needed because the guy's paying with cash, like he mentioned.
And there was the further backstory is his sister had just passed away. And it was right during COVID or right before COVID. He wanted his family close. And so he said, Mom, I'll buy you a house once you come on down. And George, we had calls earlier today in the segment about, hey, I've been doing this, and life keeps happening. I think it's important to tell folks, following the Ramsey plan, getting out of debt, it does not inoculate you from bad stuff. Mom is still going to get sick. Wife is still going to step out of your marriage. Kids are going to have struggles. Life is going to happen. What this does is it gives you options, and this is a personal story. My cousin passed away suddenly. His name was James. He was just an amazing guy. A cousin that I really loved. And he told me some things privately over the course of my life that meant a lot to me. And when he passed away, this is 7 or 8 months ago, my wife and I had the privilege and the ability to get this, just be really, really sad. We bought plane tickets. We flew down to see him. Went to his funeral. I got to stand at his casket, and we had a couple of hard conversations. I wasn't happy, and it was sad. I was frustrated, but I didn't have to worry about, can we even afford to go to this thing? Can we afford to get a hotel? When everyone was like, I don't know if we can go out to eat. Let's just go out to eat. I'll pick it up the ticket. And it's not because we're super rich or wealthy or anything, but it's because we had an emergency fund. And Shaq, at a much, elevated situation, can just say, I need all my family around me right now when the world's falling apart. Just go pick out a house, and I'm going to buy the house, right? So we do this stuff not because life's not going to happen, but because it's going to happen. And it gives us the ability to just make some moves and to take care of ourselves, to just experience life, to be really joyful, or to really see beauty, or to really be sad, because we're not worried about, can I eat? Can I afford to do this stuff? And I love that. It's such a cool picture. It won't happen in my lifetime, but it'd be awesome to be able to say, Mom, I'm buying my next door neighbor's house. Just come over. So gosh, what an amazing moment, right?
That's an aspirational goal. And, it's easy to look at a video like that and go, well, Shaq has $400 million, so it's easy for him to just go buy a house in cash for his whole family. Listen, the idea behind it is that Shaq said, oh, you're not going to disrespect me by saying I got to be a part of this little maze and system you guys created. I exist outside of that.
I opted out of the system.
I opted out of the system. And so even if you don't have $400 million, you can still pay for a home with cash. That's reasonable. People still do it, even in today's America. And people can buy houses without credit scores. And I tell you that because I did it. And there's a process called manual underwriting. There's a product called a no-score loan. And if you just hit a set of criteria, like, have a very low debt-to-income ratio, have a pile of money in the bank, have a good down payment, get a 15-year fixed rate, you will get a mortgage with an excellent interest rate. And when you think about what the credit score is made up of, every single piece relates to debt, right? Your payment history, how much you owe, the length of your credit history, how much new credit you've taken on, what the mix of the credit is. Are you getting the hint here? All of this has to do with debt. And I love nothing more than helping people take off this veil of the system and go, you don't have to play this game. Is it slightly more nuanced, or are the things a few hoops you might have to jump through? Sure, but way less hoops than figuring out how the credit card reward system works.
Well, and it was when I found out that if somebody wrote you a check for $5 million, your credit score doesn't change, that I realized, that has nothing to do with
your net worth, your income, not
money.
A factor. You can be absolutely broke and have a great credit score.
It has to do with your relationship to lenders. Has nothing to do with how well you're doing financially. Nothing.
Hey, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. And one of those prizes is, I have a great credit score and no money in the bank and no money in retirement, but I pay my debts perfectly on time. Good for you, bro. I'm playing a different game. And if you want to play that game, go for it. But
if
when
you
you're
want to play
done
that
with
game,
that,
just watch the news for 30 minutes and look at the anxiety and depression and default and debt ratios. And that's the game you are opting into. And George, this show takes a lot of heat because we're not real.
We're so out of touch.
I can't think of a more empowering show that says we believe in you, the listener, you, the person who's been on the margins, you, the person who's been spit on and kicked, you, the person who's been through abuse and hell at home. We believe in you so much. We think you can do something different. We don't think that you are stuck in some sort of have to be rescued moment. No, we believe in you. We believe in your family. We believe in your community. We believe in your friends. We believe in all of you. And nobody tells you that. They tell you you're broken, you're screwed up, you're the worst thing that ever happened to you, and that nobody's coming for you, so you just better sit at home and maybe the government will come. No, we think more of you than that. We think more of you than you think of you. And that's why we tell you, you can. But George, like I said, you got to opt out of the system. You got to play a different game.
Absolutely. And one of the ways we help people do that is through Financial Peace University. That's the thing that did it for me when I went through it 10 years ago. And what's really cool is that right now, all of the personalities are leading Financial Peace University themselves through virtual classes, which mean anyone around the country can join this. And John Deloney's going to be leading one. I'll be leading one. And this is the plan. There's 9 lessons in here. We're going to go through it in about 4.5 weeks, meeting twice a week. And we unpack how the system is meant to keep you broke. We unpack how it's not all your fault, but it's your responsibility. We unpack how to buck the system and take control and get that financial freedom and freedom in all areas of your life. So join us for this. We're going to be your personal cheerleaders, encouragers, showing you how to pay off debt, how to build wealth, and you're going to have a community of thousands of people joining you as well.
Hey, my class starts on Monday.
Oh, this Monday?
Monday.
So you got to join, because once it starts, you can't join. That's a good call.
Is that the rule?
That's the rule.
If you don't join mine, you're going to be stuck in George's class.
God forbid.
And it's over lunch. It's over lunch. You can take the class out in the parking lot during your lunch break. Let's do this.
Love it. So John's class is on Monday. Mine launches June 20th. Go grab your spot right now at fpu.com. fpu.com is the place to go.
It's going to be a party.
Sign up. Hey, tell your friends. Tell your mom. This is all virtual, so anyone around the country can join. We'll be meeting for about an hour each time, have an awesome discussion, activities. You watch the videos beforehand, and I'm telling you,
live Q&A.
This 4 to 5 weeks could change everything. You'll look back and go, oh, that was it. That was the turning point for me. So don't miss it. FPU.com. Join one of our virtual FPU classes coming up real soon. I'm George Camel, joined by Dr. John Deloney. This is The Ramsey Show. If you want to call us up, it's 888-825-5225. We'll talk about your life and your money. Wesley joins us up next in Atlanta. Wesley, welcome to the show.
Thank y'all for having me.
Sure. What's going on?
I'm a 20-year-old college student. My grandmother and my mother passed away. Both passed away within the past 2 years. And I've been left with the mortgage on the house with my older sister.
How old did you say you were?
21.
Okay.
I currently have 20K in savings and am currently making roughly $41K a year. I was calling for advice about the mortgage. Where do I invest or what to invest in with no Roth IRA? And then thoughts about me on my first car loan.
So I think you need to back up first. Tell me about this house. Can you afford it?
Me and my sister are splitting everything down the middle and paying on the mortgage.
What's the payment on the mortgage total?
At least $1,000 a month.
And so you're splitting that $500 a piece?
Yes, sir.
Okay. To what end?
Can I have a little more detail on that one?
Like, so you and your sister are going to pay into this house together and pay it off one day for what? Is somebody living there? Are you living there? Is she living there?
My sister lives there, and then that's where I go back home when I leave school.
And it's 50-50 between you and her, the ownership?
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to tell you something, and it's hard to hear, okay? Because I know there's a lot of love and memories wrapped into that home, but you're putting money into you're keeping a dream alive. Let me put it this way. Your mom was doing the best she could and said, I just want to split everything 50-50, but right now y'all are splitting an asset 50-50. And I would much rather see you guys consider selling this house and taking that equity, and your sister take hers, you take yours, and then y'all can start making some decisions that are going to be best for each other right now moving forward. Versus you putting $500 a month into a house that your sister lives in that you don't have, and what you're going to do is you're going to find yourself without a house in a couple of years, or you're going to find yourself in an apartment still in a couple of years, pretty frustrated that your sister's living in this house. You see what I'm saying? It's just it's a recipe for you and your sister really having some relational challenges down the road. That's why I asked you to what end. What's the end game here?
Have you talked to your sister about the long-term plan?
Yeah, we talk about it often.
What is the long-term plan?
To both own it, and then, in all honesty, I'll probably just give it on to her, since we don't have anywhere else to live.
How old is your sister?
In the future. She's 25.
Okay. Now you call with a bunch of questions. You're like, I got 20 in savings. I make $41,000. I've got the mortgage, but then you also said I'm looking at my first car loan. Do you have a car currently?
Yes, sir.
So this would be upgrading in car.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Why can't you pay cash for a reasonable used car? You've done so well so far. Why go into debt now?
Long term for the purposes. I plan on owning a truck over time, and then I wanted that truck to be the family car for whenever that happens. But I was just going to just go ahead and get it now and just chip away at it, and then just have it to have it.
By the time you have a family, you may go, oh, I want a new truck. And so I don't make plans for 10 years down the line with a car purchase because it's a depreciating asset. So you have 20 in savings. Is that your emergency fund plus some?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I would be looking at getting a very reasonable used truck. I'm talking used because trucks are insanely expensive right now. It's the worst time in history to buy a truck.
Let me put it this way. I make way more than $41,000 a year, and my truck is a 2006 Tundra with almost 200,000 miles on it, and I love it.
So if you want to spend cash, factoring in the price of the car, the taxes, the maintenance, the gas, all of that, and you can do it with cash, then go for it. But outside of that, it sounds like you're still in school. Are you cash flowing school? Do you have more to pay?
No, sir. I don't have any debt.
Okay, so school is paid for?
Outside of the mortgage.
And then once you graduate, what's the plan?
Possibly professional. And there's a couple big companies in Atlanta that have talked to me before and offered me a job. And whenever I get done playing, for being an athlete, that did hire me.
Okay.
And I also can go into coaching as well.
And then you still got this house situation. And so that's what John was talking about. We have to have a game plan of, hey, when I'm done with college and I need to move somewhere, I can't still be paying into this. And we may need to be looking at selling this thing once I graduate. And you take your half, I take my half. That becomes Wesley's down payment and her down payment for a house in the future.
Is there any reason you said she wouldn't have a place to live? She's 25. Is there any reason why she isn't working or wouldn't be able to get herself an apartment just like you have?
Well, she wasn't working since she was taking care of our grandmother. Well, she was sick, and so she wasn't able to work at all. And so now she's just getting back into working.
Okay. All right.
And I'm just trying to make it easier for her to call back out.
No,
so,
man,
so she's not been on house.
The world needs more guys with hearts like you have. Okay. You have an incredible heart, and you've had an incredible amount on your shoulders the last few years. Trying to stay in school, trying to continue to perform on the athletic field, trying to take care of your mom and your grandmother as they pass away, trying to take care of your sister. Man, you're a good man. That's why I want you to hear what I'm saying, not as like, oh, this guy's just, what a fuddy-duddy old man. He doesn't understand. What I don't want you to be is 23 and you're paying on last year's truck. You're paying on a home you don't own. You're looking at, man, I didn't get drafted like I thought I was going to, and now I've got to figure out what comes next. You can create a mess for yourself. Or you can talk to your sister and say, hey, I'm going to pay on this house for 6 more months. I'm going to pay on this house for 3 more months. And then you and I are going to have make a hard decision about, are we going to keep this house with all the joy, but also all the pain inside this place? Or are we going to sell it? We're going to split the equity. Even if you want to give her a little bit more of the equity, whatever is in your heart. But I want the next few years for you and your sister to be as free as possible, with as few chains wrapped around your hands and your wrists and your ankles as possible. And so sometimes that's sitting down and doing really hard things like selling the family house, like telling your sister, hey, I've got to put a boundary on this thing because I also have to be smart about where I'm going to live. And don't count chickens before they hatch, man. A lot of businesses talk a lot of, oh yeah, when you get done, you come talk to me. And man, they are a ghost when you pick up the phone and make those calls. So maybe sitting down with your sister and having a George, I'm talking about like a boundaries conversation, like a deadline, like this can't go on indefinitely. What if we, on September 1, or what if October 1st, we sit down and we figure out where we are, how much money you're making, what job prospects look like for you, how you feel about being in this house, what my prospects are. Let's just be honest about where we happen to be.
You talk a lot about grieving what was, especially when something traumatic happens. It can be hard to just let go of something that had such sentimental value and even financial value in the case of a house. What is the steps to take when, you have a loss in the family and there's this thing that's attached to that? How do you even grieve that and move on?
I think you got to stop for a second. And what I know about the psychology of grief and the neurology of grief is we don't often make great choices, which is why you got to have people in your life around you. That's why people call this show, because sometimes they find themselves in a mess and they've got nobody to call or nobody that they trust, right? Having a mentor, having a coach, having a counselor, having a pastor, having some people who are a few years down the road. I would love to see his sister get in a grief group of people who've lost their mom, who've been caretakers of people who passed away. There's groups like that everywhere where people will walk alongside you as your body heals and the fog begins to lift and you begin to ask that scary, terrifying question, what am I going to do next?
Good wisdom there. Thanks for the call, Wesley. This is The Ramsey Show. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. Our scripture of the day comes from James 1:17. Every good thing given and every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation or shifting shadow. The great Tim Keller, who passed away today at 72 after a battle with pancreatic cancer, said, if you have money, power, and status today, it is due to the century and place in which you were born, to your talents and capacities and health, none of which you earned. In short, all your resources are in the end the gift of God. Sad to hear the news today, John, about one of the greatest Christian thinkers, authors, evangelical ministers of our time.
Yeah, I can be pretty sarcastic when it comes to some of the what passes as spiritual wisdom these days, and Tim Keller was one of the steadfast ones. He's a good guy.
Yeah, decades of impact and ministry, and I'm currently reading through his The Meaning of Marriage book, one of his greats. So highly recommend you guys pick that up and pick up really any of his books. So much wisdom there, and thinking of his family today with the heartbreaking news of his passing.
Great guy.
All right, let's go to the phones. Chris is up next in West Virginia. Chris, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. How can we help?
I've been in my current job now, I guess, about 6 years. I took it because good benefits, good money, job security and everything, but now it's just really boring, not very fulfilling, and so I'm kind of at a crossroads here, but I had an acquaintance call me with a job offer, and the thing is that the job is probably about, $5,000 less a year lacking benefits and all the perks that I enjoy here at my current job. So it's just kind of a hard decision to make. And, of course, my wife is a little concerned about it, and I'm just trying to decide the best option and what to do there.
Often when we find ourselves at what feels like a crossroads here, there's a whole bunch of other rooms that just don't have the lights turned on yet. And so it could be that your friend calling you kind of wakes you out of a stupor and says, yeah, man, just the thought of doing something different, doing something new, doing something with a buddy lights you up. And also that doesn't mean that's the right thing. It could be, all right, I'm going to make a plan because this job is slowly killing me. But at the same time, I do like the life that it provides. So what else can I do that might have a similar, provide me and my wife with a similar life, but man, it's going to bring me more joy. And so I really want to caution you against that either or thinking. I'm trapped and I got to get out and I got to get on the first train out of town. The whole city's coming. It's not, right? It's not. So when you say I'm kind of bored, tell me a little bit more about that.
Really, the job is not very fulfilling. I work in education, and it's more or less based on number of students, and that fluctuates so much. There's days that I go without having students, which means I'm in an office for 8 hours trying to occupy my time with working on certifications or different things just to pass the time throughout the day.
And what is it that brought you into education in the first place?
Well, I taught through most of my career in one form or another. I was a certified instructor and such, and then after retiring from my previous job, kind of took it on just to pass time that I found I enjoyed teaching and stuck with it. And then it turned into the fact that it's a great paying job, great benefits, and, it takes care of all the necessities.
So I could be way off here, but are you a military veteran who's working at a university in some sort of veteran affairs role?
Close. Military vet and law enforcement for 15 years, but I do work for an adult education program.
Okay. You are a teacher and you are a public servant. Right or wrong, up or down, that is who you are, my brother. And so the world needs two things real bad: public servants and teachers. And so it sounds to me like the world needs what you are good at and what you are passionate about. It's just about finding the right place to do that. And there is no shortage of those places.
So what makes this next job the saving grace that's going to be the ticket out? What is it about it that draws you to it?
Well, it's working back in security, but as an operations manager for a small company. So it's active, it's moving and getting around. And
is there a potential that you could be bored on some days?
Not likely.
My worry is that Chris goes with Chris. And so if the solution, is Chris needs to figure out what's going on inside him that's going, man, I'm just dragging. I need a challenge. Now, it could be the job, but it could also be we've got some stuff to deal with deeper.
So my wife told me one time, I was talking about how I wanted to take this other job, but I really liked where I was. And she said something that was really important. She said, I'm watching this job kill my husband, and I'm willing to take whatever avenue is going to get you from this. And so you mentioned that your wife is really kind of tied to the benefits and the perks and the cool stuff. And this is true across the board. So is she more interested in the perks than she is her husband coming home joyful and happy and excited about the day he just had? Or you see what I'm getting at? I don't want to talk bad about your wife, but also there's a reality.
No, she agrees. She wants me to be happy with what I'm doing. We've talked about it. We're baby step 3 financially. we're doing well. We paid off everything except for the mortgage, and the money that I make at the job is what we're setting to the side. So her job covers the bills. So if I took a hit in the pay department, it wouldn't hurt that bad. But the concern, I guess, for both of us is retirement. I'm 54, she's 44. So we're just now getting to the point of starting to put 15% back for retirement starting next month. So it's just more or less the benefits package.
Okay.
Are there no retirement options with the new gig?
No, it's just a small business, maybe in the future. But right now, no, it's just pretty much salary in a car.
That part is worrisome. The fact that there's no option for retirement with this new gig, and you want to retire in the next 10 years probably. So that might be something where you go, I need to switch jobs. This ain't it. I appreciate you, friend, for bringing this to my attention. I'm going to keep looking for something that has benefits because that's what we need as a family right now.
And I sound like a broken record here because I feel like I say this on my show all the time. I say this on this show, of course, all the time. I would love to see you and your wife go for a weekend retreat together. Y'all are busting your butt. Y'all are working hard. And plan, have the fun. It can be so fun. But plan, where do we want to be? I turned 65, which is basically 1,000, right? I turned 65 in 10 years. Where do we want to be? And then it can be about dreaming and about where do we want to live and what do we want our life to look like. And here's a fun exercise. What do you want the house to feel like when you get home? And what do you want the house to feel like when I get home? And then we're going to reverse engineer, how do we build that world? And there's a mathematical component. Here's how much money I got to make. So I might have to stay in this job that I'm kind of slowly dying in for 2 more years so that we can get this far ahead. Or I'm going to stay in this job, but I'm going to start looking for opportunities to get out at X salary and X benefit package. But it gives you a guiding map, and it's something that y'all build together. So, man, go do this together. Plan ahead. Be very specific. And then I'm telling you, man, you're a hard worker. The job will show up when you know where you're headed.
Thanks for the call, Chris. That puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books. My thanks to my co-host, Dr. John Deloney, all the folks in the booth, and you, America. Until next time, spend wisely, save intentionally, and give generously.
Hey, it's Dr. John Deloney. If you like what you heard in this episode and want to know more about getting started on the Ramsey baby steps, go to RamseySolutions.com and click on the Get Started button. We'll help you figure out the best next step for you based on your specific situation. That's RamseySolutions.com and click Get Started.